Hello, bonjour, buenos dias, guten tag, wherever you are. We're Liam and Michelle.
And welcome to our van tour.
So sorry, it's a bit of a windy day today, so I've got a microphone on, but it may or may not help. So this is just the cab, as you can see, head unit, rear view mirror. So a couple of upgrades that we've made to the van have been a Sony head unit, which is a 9-inch head unit, and as you can see, we can have Google Maps and music playing, and shows you both on the screen. And has been really useful, particularly when you're on long distances. And then in addition to that, we also fitted this, which is called a Vox mirror unit. It's a reversing camera with LCD display. If we look on the menu, you can see we can also scroll through either a view of both the front and the back, just the front, or just the rear. So we leave that on permanently so we can always see the rear of the van. Gives you a really wide angle of viewing, so it means that if cars are overtaking you on one of your blind sides, you've got a greater chance of seeing them as well. We've got no windows on the back of the van, so this has been really useful and does make driving long distances much easier. So the footage on screen is just of an accident that we saw in Spain. Unfortunately, a gentleman had been knocked off a motorcycle. We won't show the actual accident, but the police turned up and assumed that the English tourists had been responsible. But we were able to show that we hadn't, and more importantly, we were able to show who had been involved. Just on the outside of the van, we've got the camera for the Vox mirror, rear view mirror. So we put the crook lock in place as well before turning the seats around. It's probably also worth pointing out that we did also reupholster the front seats. We had a different fabric on them. And we took the seats out and stripped them down and changed the fabrics. Not the easiest of jobs, but worth doing, and managed to make the seats look a lot better. So if we fancy just a very quick cup of tea, then we'll just put this collapsing table up, folds up really neat and flat, and we'll put our drinks on there. So one of our alternative layouts is to have the tables like so. You can see it's a nice sunny day today. We're in a car park, so unfortunately lots of people are reversing in and out. Apologies for the noise. Good smile, Michelle. So there you go, nice big table. We also have another table which fixes to the back door, so it's kept out of the way, nice and safe, and we'll put that one up now as well. So when we designed this table, as well as it taking a swan neck fitting over to the side of the door there, we also fitted table legs as well, so we can actually use the table outside. Not today because it's really muddy, but yeah, we can also use that outside as well, so it's fully portable.
So what that means is we can seat for dinner. Table 1, table 2.
There you go, slight height difference, but it works, doesn't it? And it's good usable space. So we can just see that the one table goes and slots in back here, and we can just lock that away and then move that chair slightly back, and it's well out of the way. So it's worth just pointing out that the two tables are made out of 22mm bamboo, which has then been Osmo oiled, and that's also the same material that we used to make the kitchen work surface and the surface above the toilet. As you can see from this angle, we have the ribbon Neptune seats here, and then our normal cab seats there, which are turned around, and we'll show you now how the seats work. Okay, so what we do is we have a handle on the side here which we pull. The base of the seat folds over, and then we just need to do a quick correction here just to give it more room. And if we did our job properly in the beginning when we designed it, that fits in snugly there. You can see underneath here we have some storage. So we've got various bits in there, high-vis jackets, Crocs, Ridge Monkey, all the usual sorts of things that people carry in there. And then just worth noticing here that by ordering the 6P, it comes with this handle, and if you pull this handle up, it does allow you to move the chairs from one side to the other. What that means is that both these chairs can move together to form a double bed in the middle of the van or to one side. Okay, we tend not to use that as much, but we've got that there if we need it. So pull that handle, this part folds down, and what you have there, remove these quilts out of the way, mattresses, not quilts. We have a piece of compressed foam here which we've covered in a grey fabric. Well pointed out, wife. Wasn't we at all, was it? Michelle very cleverly ordered some compressed foam online and then sewed some fabric covers for them as well, so they complement the van, don't match entirely.
I have to say that because Lee did everything else.
I do everything, so in joke between us at the moment that I do everything. I don't do a lot. So what you have then there is a kind of over 6 foot long bed. I'm 6'2", and I can sleep comfortably.
Would you like to give a demonstration?
Shall I with my muddy shoes?
You could take your shoes off.
Well, I could, but that'd just be easy, wouldn't it? So, I don't normally go to sleep with my sunglasses on. But there we go. And we could have spaced it out a bit further to give us some more room. I could have had less length on the kitchen, but that gives me enough room to lie down and gives Michelle more than enough room to lie down. So just prior to pressing record, Michelle had the audacity to say that my stomach looks big from that angle. So this is it from another angle, just to show the bed. So we have 2 of these, so both seats do exactly the same. And as I say, if we wanted to, we could move them both into the middle to create one bed.
But we don't do that.
No. It's nice to have the walkway down the middle for access to the toilet, but we'll come on to that later on. So we can just see here things like fan, USB fan, always useful when you're driving down through France and Spain because it does get very hot. We have got cab aircon, so aircon does run off the starter battery when we're driving, but we don't have aircon in the back. Just here we have a curtain which we pull across, and it kind of acts as a bit of a bulkhead. So if we're going out during the day, one, it probably keeps the cab, or keeps the living part of the van a little bit cooler, but also gives us a bit of privacy and hopefully stops prying eyes.
And it is black lined, so it looks from a distance.
So if we just show that, yeah, so from this side.
No, I lined it at the very top where the white tape is.
Ah, right, you lined that, that's okay. Right.
But the curtains are.
What we also have then are these kind of fairly standard curtains. We bought these as blackout, however they weren't. So these were the curtains that Michelle then did sew in a blackout lining into the other side. So these actually work really well. So you can see it's a really sunny day and there is no sunlight coming through that at all. So really very good. Just moving up through the cab, here we have what are called Wonderbugs. Wonderbugs are magnetic internal blinds going both front windows and the front windscreen. There are then some press studs on the front windscreen insert. Very simple to install. So we actually spoke to Becky at Wonderbugs back at Stratford-on-Avon at the Vanlife Festival back in, I think it was 2022. And we thought these were really good. So we know a lot of people have external blinds for the windscreen or covers for the windscreen. We've gone for an internal one because we didn't want to have to put a wet external cover somewhere if it had been cold or wet or snowy.
We don't have a lot of storage space.
Because we don't have a huge amount of storage space, thank you. So what we did was we were kind of putting these in a cupboard, and then I just had this idea one day to screw some belts into the side of the roof of the Hightop, and then got them to kind of match the rest of the van. So they're in white, the Wonderbugs are in grey. So then moving up, we installed a cab space. What originally happened was when we designed this van, we put strengthening in along this seam here between what would have been the original van and then the fiberglass high top. The idea being that we could put bedboards across this space so that our children could possibly come away with us and sleep above us, so we don't have a full berth van. Originally this was a 5-seater van, we then converted it to a 4-seater, so we would have had a 4-seater 4-berth van. However, it became very apparent that the kids had very little interest in coming away with us in such a confined space, so what we then did was decided to build a cupboard to go in here. So apologies for the mess, but what we've got is a light that comes on automatically when you open the cupboard. That's rechargeable, and then we just keep things like coats and Bluetooth speakers and picnic blankets and towels and things of that nature in there. So that's been really useful. Having built that then allowed me to put a shelf in across the top here, because we never used to have anything in. This has actually been really helpful because it's taken a lot of little knickknacks out of the kitchen cupboards, and these are just up here on hand then whenever you want them. We just coincidentally bought these baskets which fit really well into the slots, and then we also have a little first aid kit, which is a black Volkswagen, almost high top, not quite, but yeah, so that's got all of our medication in it. And then we just keep things in here like your help flash. We'll probably come on to this in a later video if we do one, because these are theoretically becoming law in Spain from I think 2026. So this is a Bluetooth enabled smart beacon for if you break down on the motorways in Spain. It still works, I didn't drop it. And then just USB cables and games and things of that nature. So we keep all sorts of there, and then things like coffees and teas. So as we come over to this, we've put a few baskets around just so we've got a little bit of extra storage when we're asleep. We can just put our glasses or change in our pockets, or not that we have much money, in there. And then just move around here, we've got the switch over here to the left hand side is for our planar auto term diesel heater. So we went for the 2 kilowatt diesel heater. Not cheap, but has been very good, and it gets very warm really quite quickly and warms the van nicely. We've not gone anywhere particularly cold so far, but we're pretty confident that if we did, that would be up to the task. And then we've just got a bank here of switches which turns everything on in the van. So if I turn that on, you can see the lights and things of that nature have all come on. But these switches control the water tap, the extractor fan in the ceiling, and lights and sockets and all sorts of other things. One day I might get around to actually labelling those up. Then we've also got a light switch, so that just controls the LED lights. Hopefully they're not strobing too much. And those are also on a dimmer, so we can turn those right down or right up.
Really nice.
So in addition, we've also got these angulable, what's the word? Maneuverable? I don't know the word. In addition, we've got these lights which, as you can see, you can bend into position. They're touch sensitive, so you can touch there, you get like a blue reading light. Touch it again, you get that, and then touch it again, it becomes even brighter. So I really like those, they've been really good. Looking back, I wish I'd have got one with a USB port in them, but as I say, not disappointed with them, they've been really useful. So again, just on this side, on top of the side I normally sleep on, we've got the same light, same basket, same fan as we got over on the other side, so that all helps. Sorry, apologies, we do tend to use the bowl as a bit of a dumping ground for stuff, and we are just having a cup of tea, so stuff's in there.
So this is our kitchen. We don't have a fixed hob. We have a bistro stove that currently lives down there. Sink and water. Lee will tell you about the problem we had fitting the sink. We've got an extra bit of storage here, which we use occasionally, and it folds back down like this, if you can do it.
Very well demonstrated, Michelle.
And we have storage cupboards, which, as you can see, slightly messy, but we keep our things like our kettle, some more tea bags, tea drinkers, and bits and pieces in that one. And then in this one we've got things like cups and other bits and pieces. These two storage areas are a bit of a dumping ground which we need to go through, so don't look too closely at those.
Oh, moving on.
And then this is where our water system is currently. It's not actually set up correctly, but down here is we've got all of our kitchen bits and pieces, plates, crocks, wipes and the like, and our pans. And in this one is where we store our food and our bistro stove and flasks when we're travelling.
Very tidy.
And I'll hide those under there, and the ridge monkey. And then at the very bottom, we have handy storage down here, which is where various other bits and pieces live, and funnels and things. And that is our kitchen setup.
And there's also one on the other side, isn't there? There's two of those little cupboards.
Yes.
See that rather lovely splashback that we have? That is actually velcroed in place.
Except the velcros.
Yeah, the velcros needs redoing. So that's velcroed in place, and if we actually take that out, there is actually a full window behind it with an opener. So we can have the choice of either having it a bit lighter in here, or with a splashback in.
We also have a Dometic, I think it's a 55
CRX 50, yeah.
Which is what lots of people have.
50 litre.
Small, but
it's probably
mostly
just
does
about
the job.
enough. Yeah.
He's a little bit power hungry, I think, but we potentially need a new battery. And then we have this handy
wine storage unit.
Well, wine, but that's alcohol free.
Yeah, well done.
So it's not as bad as it looks. And then it's not all alcohol free. There is some alcohol in there.
One bottle of wine.
And then Lee's clothes storage and my clothes storage. And Lee will talk about the electrical cupboard at the bottom.
Amazing. So almost completely forgot to talk about our Fiamma turbo vent, which we fitted. So it's a 400mm frame. There's a lot of videos online. We did film putting it in. Basically we cut a big hole in the fiberglass and then connected it up, so that works. We also purchased a cover so it can be closed. That kind of cuts down on a lot of the light that comes through. And we have also somewhere got a thermal cover to go on top of that one for if we go somewhere particularly cold.
Never used it.
We've never used it, and if I'm really honest, I don't know where it is, but it's there somewhere. So yes, we've got cupboards here and there for our clothes, and then down at the bottom here, it is a mess. My apologies. But in here we have our, let's not look in there too much. It's things, anything electrical really. So we've got a little electric pan that we use. We've got a 1000 watt inverter. We've got the shunt for the electrics. Is it called a shunt? I think it's called a shunt. Then the fuse board and the charger for the battery. So we're running, we've got a solar panel on the roof. We've got a 115 watt panel on the roof. That's charging we've got a AGM battery, which we think possibly after 5 years, because the van is now almost 5 years, it's almost its 5th birthday, old, we probably need to start looking at potentially thinking about either a bigger battery or maybe even for lithium possibly. So we've also got a consumer unit under there, so we've got a 240 volt hookup on the outside which powers a 240 volt house style socket here.
And for those of you who want to buy Lee a drink, he'll tell you about the tile of fitting his electric hookup.
Anybody who is knowledgeable will look at our van and wonder why there are 2 electric hookups on the van.
But there is.
So I had a small mishap and cut a hole in slightly the wrong place. Not entirely my fault, but mostly my fault. And that also meant that I had to then come up with a way, this was during the COVID lockdowns, to fill the hole. So the only way I could think of to fill the hole was to put in an extra electric socket with a cover on it and fix it in and seal it so it couldn't be used. So that's why. So if you ever look at our van, there are 2 electric sockets for electric hookups on the outside of the van. That's why. One day I'll get the hole filled in properly and painted. So just in addition, one of the things I fitted as well was just a little cupboard in the back here. So we keep things like inflatable pillows. There's just a little bag, you should blow them up and all is good. A little bit of a cargo net. So anything kind of that we're not necessarily needing all of the time goes up there. So the one thing that was an absolute necessity for us when we started planning out the van and taking it forward was that we had to have a toilet. So you remove, and I will just point out one thing, I am not and have never been a carpenter. So all this was done with dodgy tools on the front drive in all sorts of weather, and I apologise, well actually no, I don't apologise for the finish, but it looks okay and it's functional. So this piece of wood comes out, and behind there you have a recess which we can fit shopping bags. There's actually a very big bowl, it's about 2 foot long by about 1.5 feet wide,
Which we use when we're showering.
So what you do is this then lifts up, and there's a little catch here that will stop that from falling back down. This door opens, okay, and as you can see we've got a bin there and then toilet. So it's a flushing Thetford cassette toilet. We've got all the chemicals and everything down there, so sorry it's a bit of a mess. And yeah, that's worked really well for us. We have had the golden rule of liquids only, so that has kept marital harmony going for the last 5 years that we've had the van. Yes, that's the toilet. I don't think there's anything more to say. There's a filler on the tank on the outside here, which I'll show you in a second, and then the cassette underneath. But we've still maintained that that's a necessity for us. So just to close it, in fact, if Michelle would like to move back just a little bit, what we do is while we're on the toilets, obviously we don't have the back doors open if we're on the toilet.
Not often anyway.
Okay? And then these 2 cupboards, those doors open. So if you're in the van with somebody else, what you have is a privacy screen, which basically means that you're...
to be fair, that's what Lee does. I just draw this curtain.
Yeah. So you have 2 options, which we've added. So flick that'll drop down, and we can put this piece of wood back in, like so, and that is the toilet. Anything else to add, Michelle? No. How's your first taste of videoing and doing a van tour been?
I'll tell you when I've watched it back. You hold the camera slightly. Thank you. I only need one of my chins to be in the footage.
Oh.
So this is our kitchen in daylight, and it's lovely.
Yeah.
Happy place.
Yeah. So it's at this point of the video where I realise we've completely undersold the fact that Michelle and I self-converted this van. We bought a panel van with 137,000 miles on the clock, and with absolutely no experience of doing anything like this at all, set about creating our dream home on wheels, our forever home on wheels. So it's been a lot of trial and error, a lot of swearing and redesigning and just trying to get the right layout, and that never ends. You just keep doing it. So if you're just starting out on your journey, be prepared for the fact that you'll never really finish converting your van. Michelle and I have got hundreds of hours of video footage of us doing various tasks on the van. Some are probably actually really useful, and hopefully one day I might get around to actually putting them online. So again, just carrying on with the theme of underselling what we've done on this van. We cut in the windows. That was quite a task to do on your front drive when you're at the mercy of the British weather. So we thought we were being clever today recording our van tour. So we came to a car park with the gorgeous sunshine outside, but failed to realise that the car park would be very, very muddy. So we just shown some footage here of the van at Vanlife Festival in 2024, where we were in the Field of Inspiring Dreams, which allowed us to show off the van to its fullest potential. If you have got this far, thank you so much for watching. If you can, please press the like button. Please comment, let us know whether you like it, whether you don't. And please, if you've got any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments and we'll try and get back to you as soon as we can.